Welcome to Soul Blazing. I'm Lisa Haisha, and my guest today is a former CNN journalist and the chef and founder of Supina. Let's welcome Elena Fuhrman. Hi. So great to have you here.
So good to have you.
I love meeting you. We met through your daughter,
Yeah.
who was teaching my daughter singing lessons.
Yeah.
Yes, and when we met, it was just like kindred souls.
I know.
Yeah, fell in love right away. I mean, our lives and our journeys were just so interconnected, but so different. And what I love about you is you just live life so fully, and you're such a strong woman, and you raised amazing daughters.
Thank you.
Yes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you made it from Russia to the United States, how you got to work at CNN as this journalist.
We don't have enough time.
I know.
But I left the former Soviet Union from Moscow in 1989, 3 weeks after the wall came down. And I did not know there was a wall because they just didn't tell us, they forgot to mention that,
Right.
They just erected that wall in the middle, But I got to see it on CNN, interestingly enough. I was translating for different organizations, and I was at one of the international hotels in Moscow, and all of a sudden I see everybody stop, and they had these big TV monitors, and before anybody in the Soviet Union had TVs that big. And people were staring, and some people were crying, and some people were cheering, and some people were throwing their hands up in the air and hugging, and I was like, what are they doing? Somebody's like pulling bricks from some wall, and like, why are they all cheering? And so then I got, they all got explained to me. And in an interesting twist of fate, I came to the United States, people here really embraced me, and I think I was just very fortunate that because I didn't know anybody, and I came by myself. And I had $61 in my pocket, and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to America, and I have so much money, $61."
That's a long way. Don't you love the innocence? If you really knew what it took to do something, we'd never do anything.
For sure, yeah, totally. And but somehow it worked out. I don't know how and why, but it did. And but why it worked out is because there's so many amazing people who opened their homes and their hearts and their souls and helped me, and I was able to change my visa and become a student at the University of Wisconsin. And that's how I became a journalist, because I was studying to be a linguist in Moscow, and that's why I was translating. I spoke English. And so they asked me what major I wanted for my graduate school, and I said, "Oh, I wanted to learn computers. I've never seen a computer before, and I'm going to write code." And they asked me to go see a professor at the computer sciences, and he looked at me and he said, "I don't think you'd enjoy sitting at the computer 24/7 and writing code. I just don't see that as your personality. Look a little longer, see what you can." So he handed me a catalog. And again, I grew up in a completely different part of the world. We didn't get choices like that. And so I'm leafing through a catalog of different majors and classes and just fascinated by it all. And then I found journalism, and I thought, wow, you actually get to tell the truth and get paid for it? That's kind of a foreign concept, because, what happened to people in my country when they told the truth, they got sent to gulags.
Right.
So here you actually get paid for telling the truth, and, I always wanted to tell the truth, and I got in trouble for it sometimes. So so I thought that would be a really cool major to have, and I studied journalism. And in '91, the whole Soviet Union broke apart, and Yeltsin stood on the tank, and everything changed. And because I was a token Soviet in Madison, Wisconsin, because I went to school in Madison, I was asked to start working at the local ABC affiliate to help them put together stories about the Soviet Union and the falling apart and Yeltsin and all of this. And so that's how I got into broadcast journalism. And then fast forward years later, I ironically got offered a job at CNN. Ironically, I mean, it was wonderfully, but because CNN would kind of open my eyes onto what's happening in the world, because I didn't know what was happening. And here I am, at a reception, meeting Ted Turner for the first time, and saying, "You are the reason I'm here." And he goes, "What do you mean?" and I said, "I'll tell you what I mean," which was kind of an interesting twist of fate. So CNN was an incredible experience. It took me all over the world, and